before we go to questions and answers, I would just like to introduce a good friend of mine who's here tonight, a guest who's working very hard with the indigenous people of the Amazon. There's the biggest lawsuit in the history of the environmental movement right now is being brought against Texaco, which is now owned by Chevron, on behalf of 30,000 indigenous people in the Amazon, because Texaco is alleged to have dumped more than 30 times the amount of oil that the Exxon Valdez spilled into the Amazon. And so there's this incredible lawsuit. And just so you hear a little bit, I don't want to embarrass her, but I'd like to bring up Trudie Styler for just a moment. And some of you may have seen Trudie on television. Trudie gave an impassioned speech the other night on television, which probably a lot of you saw. Trudie.
Thank you, I think. Okay, speak what we feel, not what we ought to say. May I?
It's great water, isn't that good?
When I taste this water, my mind goes back to a few weeks ago when I was in the Ecuador rainforest, which sounds like it should be a beautiful place, right? The rainforest of Ecuador. And where I was is now being labeled one of the world's most contaminated sites. This water doesn't exist there, and it hasn't for 20 years. And when the mums feed their children, the water is rimmed and skimmed with an oil slick, and it's cloudy and murky, and consequently a lot of people now have cancer and leukemia, skin lesions, disoriented, a lot of learning difficulties amongst the kids. I think for me, I've Sting myself been campaigning rainforests on behalf of indigenous people for 20 years. And for me, this case is particularly poignant because this is a basic, right? How many of you drank water today? Everybody. And we all in this room have a sense of what we're drinking is doing us good, not doing us harm. And with that, we have a confidence about our living existence. We can't live without water. But every day of these people's lives, and I looked into the eyes of the mothers, because I'm a mother of 4 children, and they're frightened to feed their children, to give them water, because they know that they're being systematically poisoned. Chevron denying that it's their responsibility to do any cleanup. They're blaming the previous government for allowing the concessions in the first place. I'm here to talk about what we can do. I'm not interested in bad guys and good guys. I'm interested in justice for people who have very vulnerable voices. I'm here shaking tonight because I'm not used to speaking without any notes, but I'm here and I have the confidence to say I'm proud to be here, to be the stronger voice for those vulnerable people, and to ask in each and every one of you to help in any way that you can. And I think that a way that we can help is to be really conscious of what we do every day, of what we buy every day, of really what our leaders are saying to us, and to start to learn to question. As I say, Sting and myself have been in this business of rainforest green campaigning for 20 years, and I've been down to the Amazon quite a lot, and I see these people who are most marginalized people, the indigenous people in the world, the poorest, and they should be our teachers. They teach us so much, but each time I see destitute people because they've had their sense of themselves just torn away from them by corporate marauders, and it's either about logging, or it's about gold, or it's about diamonds, or in this case it's oil. But it's always about one thing, friends. It's about profit only. And the poor people are getting poorer, and the rich are getting richer. And I'm just compelled to say something about this area in Ecuador, where it's far away from the contaminated site.
Where is it?
It's called the Yasuni Park, and there's about 1.5 million hectares of beautiful, pristine Amazon rainforest. And within this pristine Amazon rainforest, there are many residents, creatures, fantastic trees, and 2 uncontacted tribes of people, probably about 1,000 of them. Nobody knows, but a contacted tribe has talked about them, and they don't want any contact with this world. So this is a place of paradise. In their subsoil, they have billions of barrels of oil. Now, the Ecuador government, this new president, Rafael Correa, who I think is a good man, he doesn't want to drill this oil out. If the oil is drilled out, we've got oil there for 12 days to service the world. 12 days. That's it. So we have this sort of rabid need right now for oil, which is it's a dying commodity. You know, this millions of years of trapped sunlight that have formed this unique commodity for all of us. It's on its way out. There's about 37 years left of it. So we have to start to think of another way. Maybe we shouldn't be so rabid with what we need that every day of our life we need oil. We say this, Sting and myself, with a certain amount of guilt because we have a huge carbon footprint with the way we go on the road, and we're using big vehicles and riding in planes. It's a difficult conundrum. But I do ask us just to be very conscious and present that when we are valuing these last drops of oil more than our most precious resource, the infinite jewels that reside in the Amazon rainforest, including the uncontacted people, our teachers, that we really should take a pause and think, okay, maybe today I can do this much towards my carbon footprint. Maybe I can become a bit more conscious, a bit more proactive, a bit more of an activist. I think we're all very hot and I should wind this up, but I do thank you for your kind attention.